It's not working. They all pass. It's all good. It's all good. No easy way. Do I hear what happens? Yeah, so, well, I think the best way.
Yeah.
It's fine. But I didn't know that you were.
And that's what I'm doing. Yeah, me too. Yeah. But anyway, so.
So, Terry like said that he got better walk is all of them. He said you're I think some of those, but that's an example. So I don't know what they call my.
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I can't see like forever. All right.
Bring this one. Oh, so it's like almost a great. I wish I did. They almost How is it here? You're not here. You're from there.
I'm from, I live in Atlanta, but actually I moved down here. Yeah.
You guys got hit by COVID. Like recently.
So it's good that IOIBT. I don't understand the IOIBT.
Yeah, Sir, how are you? Again?
I'm not sure what it is yet, but now it's wondering if it's not that obvious, we're not hiring. But you know, I talk to people. I don't know. I can't remember by office or by city. Division. By division. Well, they let the division choose. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it funny that now the Iowa office in Milwaukee is going to Chicago? You know that? Starting July 1st. I only found out about it because I got yeah.
I'm ready with camera.
I found the best spot. It's so hard here. So this microphone.
Walk right in on the walk through the door, like,
It's all good.
Paying attention. There we go.
For fun. Assuming that's a streaming camera.
Right. And I'm gonna move on. We're not doing this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand as we welcome Industry Operations Investigator Basic Training Class 2022. Please be seated. My name is Kirk Howard. I have the honor and privilege of serving as Chief of the ATF National Academy. On behalf of the Academy and Industry Operations Investigator Basic Training Class 2022, I welcome family, friends, and guests, including those who are sharing this virtually via live stream. We regret that because of the COVID-19 pandemic or your travel schedules, you could not join us here today. We begin today's program with our national anthem sung by Mr. Curtis Gilbert, Deputy Assistant Director for Industry Operations. Ladies and gentlemen, after the anthem, please remain standing. An invocation by Mr. Albert Hines, our Big Branch Chief for Liaison Curriculum and Development Branch.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare from bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I'm honored to offer the invocation today and would like to note that these are the words of retired Special Agent Bobby McCormick. We thank you, God, that we live in a nation governed by the rule of law. You have called us to be peacemakers in a world that is often torn by strife and violence. For that reason, we pray now for all persons dedicated to the safety and well-being of our nation today. Thank you, Lord, that you have granted us the traveling mercies that enable family and friends to gather now for this time of dedication and celebration. We ask that your divine presence be with us during this graduation ceremony as we prepare to rededicate the Industry Operations Investigators on behalf of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. We acknowledge our gratitude unto you for strengthening our training mission and for bringing persons of integrity and dedication to the Bureau once more. We pray now that you would bless this ceremony and each participant as we give thanks unto your name. Amen.
Thank you, Curtis. Please be seated. I'd now like to introduce Chief Martin Richardson, the ATF Deputy Director. Thank you for being your presence gives special significance to the ceremony that shows just how seriously ATF considers the training responsibilities and authorities the agency is entrusting to you, IOIBT Class 2022. As you've already heard, we have Mr. Curtis Gilbert, our Deputy Assistant Director of Industry Operations and Office of Field Operations. Also with us today is Mr. Joe Price, my Deputy Chief, who I'd also like to identify Mr. Albert Hines, who we've seen before, and then many of our area supervisors and DIOs within ATF. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank the class supervisors for IOIBT 2202, Mr. Pauline Woolley from the Atlanta Field Division, Mr. Kevin Smith from the Chicago Field Division. Thank you for being here today. Class, for the past 10 weeks, we've told you what we expect of you. You arrived at Huntsville as individuals and strangers to each other. Today, you lead as colleagues and friends and all as families. ATF leadership does their best to support the ATF graduation ceremonies. They do so to honor your achievement, demonstrate their support, and welcome you as colleagues. Graduates, supervisors, and training managers have given a great deal to IOIBT Without their assistance, this class would not be the success that it is. We appreciate their dedication, their hard work, and their commitment to IOIBT. I would be remiss in not recognizing the great men and women from the National Center for Explosive Training Research, who are great partners for us and allowing us the training space here to conduct this training. I'd also like to recognize the contributions made by the instructors and members of the ATF National Academy staff. Their expertise is essential in helping to make sure that the trainees are prepared and to reach this important day and ready for success when they report to the field. Also grateful, again, for the support and assistance for all those folks from the National Center for Explosive Training Research. We welcome the family and friends who are celebrating this special occasion with us today via live stream. Thank you for being here. Today, you too join the ATF family. The graduates will always need your love and support you give them now and into the future. This will help guide these graduates be grounded and balanced in their careers. As I know each one of you have a car running, the gas prices at $5 a gallon, ready to get out of here. I won't belabor this. So on behalf of the Office of Human Resources and Professional Development and the ATF National Academy, I'd like to extend a very special welcome, special congratulations to you, the graduating class. I'm very, very proud of you and your future bright and full of opportunity. So now, without further ado, I have the opportunity to formally introduce to you our Deputy Director, Mr. Mark Richardson, to give a keynote address. Mr. Richardson was appointed the Deputy Director of ATF on June 4th of 2021. He serves as the Chief Operating Officer and the second highest ranking official at ATF. In the past, he has served as the Assistant Director of Program Services. He began his ATF career in 1989 as a special agent for the Dallas Field Division. From there, he rose to the ranks of ATF, holding numerous management positions and increased responsibilities, to include the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Phoenix Field Division, the Chief of the National Center for Explosive Research, the Chair of the Professional Review Board, Special Agent in charge of the Denver Field Division. He also once acted as the ATF Director, so he might have all the way down. Mr. Richardson also received the Treasury Department's Hostile Action Medal for his service during the 1993 branch to the Texas. In 2010, he was named ATF Supervisory Employee of the Year for his outstanding leadership and contributions, and he continues after 33 years to continue to contribute and guide ATF. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Parker.
Sometimes I have to stop and try to figure out who. There's usually somebody else in the room that must fit that description because I don't feel like it's me. And when I say that, a lot of times, you go through, and as you guys are going to learn, and many of you already know, you go about doing your job every day because you believe in what you're doing, right? You don't do it for the accolades, you don't do it for, some of the prestige or whatever it is that may come along with it. You definitely don't do it for the title that goes on the door, right? You do it for the people and for the mission, right? Because the mission is people and the people are the mission. And without the people, the mission is just words on paper. And so every single day that we do our job, we do it because we are dedicated to a mission that we believe in. And so when I'm doing that, that's why for me, it doesn't feel like work. People want to, provide you with awards for outstanding work, and that's all great. I'm all for that, I appreciate it. But you don't do it for that, right? You do it because you believe in what you're doing. And so you guys, as we talked a little bit this morning, today is the day that we need you to start believing in what you're doing, the same way that these people across the aisle here believe in what they're doing every single day. That's why the folks that you see here represented in leadership and the folks that you see in the back of this room who have taught you the things that they know, they have gotten to the places that they are right now and then provided you with all of the information that they have in order to give you the opportunity to rise to where they are so that we as an organization can be better for it. So I look forward to all the great things that are going to come from your class here at the Academy. Every class, you never get, if I were to ask over here across the way here, how many of you guys, same class? Look, everybody, same class. Are there people here that you're with that were in your class with you? And you see a lot of handshaking. It's because you know what? Greatness begets greatness. I think it rubs off on us because of the people that we associate ourselves with, because of the people that we pattern our lives after. No different from your parents being your first heroes, right? I mean, you see them and they do things every single day. It makes you proud to be their child, right? I mean, no different here. I look back and I look at, of course, my career, and I look at the people, who I have walked in their footsteps. Some of them I've stood on their shoulders, and others I've reached a hand back to bring along. All of those are ways that we can continue to bring forth the best in what we have to offer to the American people when we start talking about us being some of the best public servants in the government. So I just put that out there to you, that no pressure. I don't want you to feel like, there's anything that you need to really be, too excited about, when we get back. A lot of expectations, but that's okay. It's not pressure. But it is something that I believe that you're going to fall into, and find that when you fall into it, you're going to fall in love with it. Because that's what I bet you I can tell you about every one of these people that's sitting over here, including myself, which is why at some point when I walk away from this, I keep asking myself, when am I going to get a job, right? Because this hasn't been that, right? This has been a labor of love, one that I would do, every single day for the rest of my life if I could, because it really does bring me that kind of satisfaction, knowing that I've done something to help people who may not have been able to do it to help themselves. So think about that as we go through this. But I'll go to my prepared remarks. May get off track a little bit here and there. I'm known to do that, but it's okay. I'll come back, okay? So good morning. My name is Marvin Richardson. I'm the Deputy Director of ATF here. And on behalf of the entire executive staff, I want to congratulate you guys for completing this part of your journey. Here, as you graduate from IOIBT 2202, you guys are marking the beginning of what I know are going to be some great careers here at ATF. You made it through this first part of your journey, and now you're at that point where you're going to join the ranks of some of the most outstanding public servants in the federal government. When I came on to ATF back in 1989, we were ranked amongst the top 10 best places to work in the government. And we're working very hard to get back to that, okay? Over time, things change, there are a few things that happen here and there, but we are working our way back to that place, and you are part of the proof that we're getting there. And the reason is because we chose you, but you also chose us. When people choose what they want, that means that they like what they're looking at. And that's what we want ATF to be, is that shining example of an organization with a mission that people draw towards, right? You should gravitate towards the things that you really like, because those things really kind of reflect who you are. So the fact that you are sitting here is a reflection that you are drawn to this mission, and we believe that you're going to bring great things to it. So it's with great pride that I find myself standing here, because 33 years ago, I was sitting in a graduating class, and if you told me 33 years ago that I was going to be standing right here 33 years later, I'd probably say, no, I'm not that guy, right? I was a street guy, a cop before I came to ATF. All I wanted to do was put handcuffs on guys and put them in jail, right? And that worked for a little while. And then, you know what? All of a sudden, you see opportunities to make contributions. Those contributions cost you a little bit of something, right? And I will tell you right now that as I stand here talking about what that cost is, you will learn throughout the course of your career that, 7 moves, 6 children, my wife's taken 3 bar exams, all of those things, have allowed me to be where I am. So in other words, not on my own. And neither will you, and neither did they achieve where they are on their own, but because of all of the great support that we have, starting with our family. So right now, I know it's been tough for you guys being away from home, worrying about loved ones and wanting to get back to them, and then also them worrying about you. But know that the only reason that you're able to do what you do is because you have someone who's going to support you and be there for you. And I don't want you to ever forget that. You will always hear us talk about family first. That is for real, okay? There's not a thing where you're going to have somebody, you're going to report to one of these people, and you're going to have a crisis at home. They're going to say, hey, you're getting paid to do a job, get there and do it. That will not be the case. And if it is, and we're talking about some of those phone calls, that might be a direct phone call. I'm a family guy. This is a family, so we have to reflect the values that we espouse, okay? You're going to find that. So right now, one of the things I'd like to do is let's give those families whom you represent a round of applause for supporting you to this point. They may not be here with us, but for those of you who are watching, know that not only do we appreciate your giving us this time, but we appreciate the fact that you are now becoming a part of this family as well. And so, for those of you, if you don't know what's in with this journey, just hold on for the ride. I guarantee you, it's going to be a good one, right? It's going to really provide you guys, I think, with some opportunities and some experiences that you'll just never forget, and you'll share those with your families because, like I said, they're the ones who allow us to get to where we are. It's a great time to be in ATL. Talked to you guys a little bit about that in the classroom this morning, and why? Well, this year, in fact, next week, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary as an independent bureau. We were in 1972 on July 2nd, birthed out of the IRS. You know about the IRS, you know what, man, there are a couple of agencies in the government that when you hear their names, you just kind of go, IRS is one of those, right? I mean, they take your money. I mean, come on, man, we're making money and they're taking our money, right? So, something I tell you, you got to get stuck with the burden that you bear, right? Well, as part of the IRS, we were revenuers. We collected revenue, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, explosives. There was revenue to be made by the federal government, and we were a part of that process. And so in 1972, though, the IRS actually said, man, this ATL, wow, man, I mean, we got enough bad press on our own taking people's money. Now, they want to take people's guns? No. I mean, we don't take them. But obviously, the Second Amendment, the association, so all of a sudden, IRS says, get out of here. No. We said, hey, you know what? We believe that we're ready to strike out on our own. And Congress agreed. And so July 2nd, 1972, ATF becomes an independent bureau. And here, 50 years later, we are, as that independent organization that has really stood for regulating the industry and protecting the public as a mission that has been strong for those 50 years. You are part of very few classes that are going to share the distinction of being the beginning of the next 50 years of ATF greatness. So for that, I'm excited and I'm looking forward to what you are going to bring to us in this next half century. Now, I might not be here to watch it all, but I will watch fondly from afar. You will be, because for most of you here, and I see a lot of youth, and I see some experience in the class as well. Ain't nothing wrong with that, because it's that mixture of youth and experience that really does come together to make us the best that we can be. So I look forward to you guys being a part of that next generation of ATF greatness. So that said, let me move along here. You guys are about to embark on a journey, not just as industry operations investigators, but as career public servants. And that title in and of itself carries a certain weight with it that some people really can't bear. But you have proven yourself to be dedicated enough to bear the burden that comes along with this mission. And when I say a burden, why is it that? Because I talked to you a little bit about, this is that place where when you start talking about where people's rights and freedoms get impacted by laws and regulations, right? And the Second Amendment is one of those areas where we, as an organization, are sometimes intersecting with that, and sometimes perceptions overshadow realities, right? So you have to know where those shadows are being cast, and then be able to really respond appropriately. We talked a little bit about relationships this morning, being able to respond to really help people to understand who we are and what we do and why we're doing it. So as you get out there and you really start to do this job, you're going to find that being that public servant means that you're going to have the opportunity to really be enriched in ways that other people cannot. Now, you'll get paid every 2 weeks, and so I'm not talking about being enriched in your checkbook, because you will. The Eagle lands every 2 weeks. That's a great thing. But I'm talking about being enriched from the opportunities that you will have to serve and the things that you will be able to do that will make a difference in protecting the public and in regulating the industry appropriately. That said, I'm talking about some of those bitter cold days, and I think guys over here across the street here and look across the aisle there, they're gonna say, yeah, bitter cold days when you have to travel for hours to get to a dealer's premises, only to find out that the inventory is kept in a Connex box, no heat, and you gotta do a floor to ceiling inventory. You got about 500 plus firearms, and guess what? It's just you. Anybody ever been there? I'll bet you have, right? So we're not just in sunny South Florida, we're in the Dakotas. We're in Colorado. It gets cold there, doesn't it, sometimes? Just think about it, that's you. Or maybe it's when you have to go to, you better imagine South Dakota, and you gotta look into that explosive bunker that's about 100 miles away from any services. And you know, if you didn't pack your lunch, you're in for a long day. That's gonna happen to you too, but you're gonna do it. Or perhaps it's going to be, you know, when you visit that mom and pop dealer, it's been in business for about 30 years, but recently had 6 firearms that showed up in multiple sales and it had 9 hits attached to them. So you know what? We proactively said, you know, we might need to go out and take a look. But when you got there, did I mention to you that their records were handwritten and that they're in a 3-ring binder and that the cover's falling off and that, you know, they kind of had a leak in the roof where the records were kept. So those pages are kind of mildewed, you know, but you got to look in and you got to do that inspection anyway, okay? You're going to do it, and you're not going to do it because, you're going to do it, not just because, you're going to do it because it's the right thing to do, right? You have an opportunity to impact public safety to make sure that that which was supposed to be done was done, so that should we need those records, guess what? They're going to be available, and they're going to be right. And you know what? If those people didn't keep them right, you're going to either help them, correct it, or maybe they don't need to be in business. We talked about that this morning too. There's not a lot of monetary value that I'm going to tell you that you can put on that kind of commitment. You don't do it for the money. You do them because you're doing what is needed to protect the public. That's it. You're not going to get a lot of thanks for that, okay? Doesn't happen that way. You know, and your supervisors will be doing good. You know, maybe I guess you'll get an evaluation. It's good. And that's a good thing, to get a good evaluation. But you're not going to get a whole bunch of public, you know, recognition for going out and regulating the industry. Thank you for doing that, right? Your average citizen probably doesn't even know what you're doing when you're out there. They don't even have a clue that you're out there sometimes. They definitely don't know how many of us, right? Because they think there are thousands of us because we're all waiting to go into their closets and take their guns or to tell them that they can't have certain things. That's what the average person thinks. So you're not going to find yourself always being welcomed into places or thanked for doing certain things. So I'm going to teach you a new skill. This is the last part of your academy experience, and so I'm going to have to come from back here and do it. I need you to all, you guys can hear me, right? Okay, good. I have 6 children, I can throw my voice. Okay? I don't throw my children, I throw my voice. So here's what I need you to do. This is the last skill that you're going to learn here at the academy, okay? When you're void of thank yous, I want you to take your right hand and extend it out in front of you. And this is an exercise in which you must follow. So extend your right hand out in front. Take your left hand, put it under your right elbow. I want you to take your right hand and I want you to reach over your left shoulder and do this right hand. Sometimes that's going to be the only pat on the back that you get for a job well done, but it's going to have to be enough. Okay? And it should be enough because remember, I told you, you know what? You've set yourself apart already. You're here because you believe in what it is that you are about to do. As you receive your credentials today, you're also going to receive some awesome authority that will allow you to enforce the federal firearms and explosives regulations, to conduct investigations and inspections of licenses, the results of which can sometimes remove someone's livelihood or maybe even result in federal prosecution. Now, with that authority comes a lot of power. I want to take a few minutes just to talk to you about harnessing that power so that you control it versus it controlling you. So the first thing I want you to remember is that our mission is a noble mission. We protect the public and we regulate the industry. And to do that, it requires that you exhibit high moral character, integrity, competence, trustworthiness, empathy, and humility. And just about all of those qualities speak for themselves, but it's the last two that will keep you in check when it comes to the use of power and authority. Empathy will allow you to think about other people's feelings and to remember the golden rule. Treat others the way that you want to be treated, even when you have to go in and remove someone's license for things that they have done that are so egregious that you want to ask them right out, why are you even in business? Don't do that. Remember, have that empathy. Understand that if you were in their shoes, how would you want to be treated? Even when you're wrong, do you like somebody just kind of rub it in your face, or would you rather be treated with dignity, even though the outcome may not be one that you like? So always make sure that you use empathy, making sure that when you're doing your job, you put yourself in those shoes and control what you do and how you do it. Humility allows you to take a step back so that you don't get too full of yourself. You gotta remember, we rarely accomplish great things on our own. So you need to make sure that you give thanks when you gotta hit up that inspection, especially if you go out on a manufacturer's inspection and you gotta take the entire group with you. And you're the one making all the assignments. And there are a lot of people doing a lot of work. Make sure that you remember at the end of that, you didn't do that by yourself. Give thanks to those who help you to achieve what you achieved. That way it helps you to really avoid being arrogant and avoids people looking at you as ungrateful. And I tell you that, right? A lot of things you're gonna hear out of my mouth during this speech, it's an experience given to you. Love to say that I've always been this guy that just got it, but you know what? When you're a hard charger and you're in that seat and you're trying to, work your way through and you want to move around and move up to the top, sometimes you forget those things. Don't let it happen to you. I can tell you about that's a pitfall that you can avoid if you just use empathy and humility and remember those things. So we searched all over to find you. You're the best, you're the brightest, you're the fittest, the most talented candidates that were out there, and today you will become the newest in a long line of industry operations investigators. Now, as industry operations investigators, I need to tell you a few things about yourself. James might say, let me tell you about yourself. I need to tell you a few things about yourself. First, you are the first line of defense to prevent prohibited possessors from obtaining firearms. You are the face of ATF to most licensees, and you represent the entire agency while you're out there. So remember that the way you conduct yourself reflects on all of us. Next, you need to understand that the work that you do ensures traceability of crime victims. When a police officer or a child is shot, one of the most useful tools that we can use in solving that crime is a firearms trace. You are responsible for maintaining traceability in the license industry. You are also vital to our mission of protecting the public. You and your agent counterparts will work together to fight violent crime and to protect our nation. You are a team. You're part of ATF's 1-2 punch against violent crime, which is unique to us as an agency. So I think we can all sit here, I know that I can, and there was a time when we used to say, ATF fights violent crime. ATF fights violent crime. And then I can tell you the aha moment. It came around 2013, where's Curtis? Around 2013, right in your face. It came around 2013. I was sitting at the conference in Oklahoma City. I remember exactly. B. Todd Jones was our director. He was standing up in front of the crowd there. It was right after Sandy Hook, the situation where we are right now in the Valley. And he stood up and he said, ATF has a twofold mission. We protect the public and we regulate the industry. And everyone in headquarters, it's our job to support the field to do those two things. Being recognized is important. We don't do our job. We don't carry out our full mission without doing both things equally. Regulating the industry and enforcing the law. That's why when I talk about being unique, it goes hand in hand. There are very few other organizations in the federal government that have that. DEA may be one, similar, right? But they have a very small segment over there with the pharmaceutical industry, in which they regulate. We regulate both firearms and explosives industry. We talk about having having different items diverted from legal commerce to illegal commerce, the destruction that is caused, the lives that are lost when firearms and explosives go from legal commerce to illegal commerce and are used in crimes, it takes both our special agent population and our industry operations investigator population to solve some of those crimes. And so always remember that you're a part of that 1-2 punch. So to sum it all up, your unique knowledge of laws and regulations is critical to successfully carrying out our entire mission. So do your mission as if the agency depends upon it, because it does, right? Don't do your job in a vacuum. Do it as if the entire agency depends upon you getting it right, because we do. So from today forward, you will share in a legacy. Give you a little bit of history, right, that dates back nearly 231 years to 1791, when one Thomas Jefferson sent out a small band of revenuers to collect taxes on distilled spirits. You guys know your history pretty well. You know that little incident was called the Whiskey Rebellion, right? And those revenuers, those people who went out to collect those taxes, those were the great-great-grandfathers of the current ATF. As you depart the academy today and head to your postal duties, I want you to think about what it means, talk a little bit in the classroom, to be a leader in ATF. And notice how I said a leader in ATF, right? Not the leader of ATF, okay? We have a director who's on the floor of Congress right now. At some point, we'll get that through. That's the leader of ATF, but you are a leader in ATF. You're first a leader of one. I think we said that again in the classroom. You have to lead yourself before you can lead anyone else. If you let yourself off the hook, you'll let others off the hook, right? And so in order to be a good leader, you got to hold yourself to the highest standards. So when you leave from here today, remember, you are leaving from here as a leader. You must exercise that every single day, that you can be the best leader of one before you can be the leader of many, as these people who are sitting across the aisle. Make sure that you demonstrate daily the kind of character and competence that is representative of leadership. Demonstrate your leadership through self-discipline, teamwork, trust, and execution. And make sure that you are the one who influences and inspires and motivates others to be their best. In other words, let your actions speak for you. We hear about it, growing up all the time, you can, let your actions speak louder than your words. Well, you will have just such opportunities every single day, because you will work with senior investigators. But you know what? You may have learned something that will help them to get over a hump in a case that maybe they kind of got stuck on. Don't be afraid to step into that void, to offer that perspective, to offer that information, right? Because you're getting it fresh and new. A few of us get out, and sometimes, we forget a few things here and there, and guess what? It's not bad to be reminded, but remember, how you remind is all the different in the world and how you receive. So now, if that wasn't enough, if you guys, didn't just, have to deal with all that, we are an organization whose primary mission, as I indicated earlier, really impacts the Bill of Rights. So our mission to enforce the federal firearms laws and regulate the firearms industry often finds us in the crosshairs of the public, the industry, the Congress, and the media when it comes to the Second Amendment. So I'm not sure if you guys think that there's any controversy associated with that, but as we can see how Congress just had to really work together to find what they call the happy medium to produce the first meaningful bill in 30 years that has bipartisan support for firearms legislation. So when you think about that, anybody in here under 30? Anybody here? That's okay. So before you were born. But when you think about that, that should mean something, right? Because here we know just how controversial, the mission aspects can be, right? Not the mission, but the aspects of the mission, right? Because people look at things and they say, well, ATF and the Second Amendment. No. While there's an intersection there, ATF is a public safety organization. We're not a Second Amendment organization. So when you hear people say things like that, it's okay to help correct them, right? Because our mission is public safety, not the Second Amendment. while there is obviously an impact there, we're only enforcing the laws that Congress gives us, right? So none of us has the authority or the ability to make any of those laws, but we all have been tasked with the responsibility of enforcing. So if that wasn't enough, let's talk about those laws that you are going to be responsible for enforcing. Anybody knows how old the GCA or the NFA are? You guys just studied something, right? So I'm going to help you out, right? 88, 54. How about that? The NFA, 88 years old. The GCA, 34 years old. Has anything changed in the last 84 or 50 years with regards to firearms, maybe manufacturing, maybe production, maybe something in the line of materials or things that nothing's really happened, right? It's that important? Of course it has. And that's why we just promulgated a new rule, right? That you guys are gonna get right out there and have the opportunity, August 27th, 26th, 27th. It's in there somewhere, no, you're right. Look, bottom line is, we just put that out there and you guys are gonna hit the ground ready to enforce it. It's the biggest overhaul of the GCA and the NFA in the last 54 and 88 years respectively. It redefines firearm frame and receiver in ways that modern technology have shown us that the language was just outpaced by the technology, right? So anybody heard about a gun in a box, right? Buy, build, shoot kit, right? So here we go. What is that? How about a 3D printed firearm? What's that? You know, it's something in 1934 they were thinking about that, right? Sure they weren't. I mean, let's face it. Who knew what a 3D printer was? They didn't even know what a regular printer was, right? They had typewriters. So when you think about that, the laws are always slow to change, right? But here we've had an opportunity to overhaul those two laws for the first time in their respective histories. And you are going to be amongst the first people out there to help enforce those new standards. So that said, welcome to ATF. The landscape is changing and you're a part of that change. But all kidding aside, I think, you know, the one thing I said to you guys in the classroom was, you've got fresh eyes, new ideas. We're going to bring a mindset to us that's going to give us an opportunity to look at things differently. Don't keep that to yourself. Use that to help us to make ourselves better. We need you for that. That's why we brought you here. So as I get ready to close, ATF is an organization that has survived many difficult times and endured many tragedies that have resulted in changes throughout the years. From the heartbreaking losses of Ariel Rios and Eddie Benitez in Miami in the 1980s, to the tragedy in Waco, Texas, to the Oklahoma City bombing in the 90s, the fallout from Fast and Furious in the 2000s, one thing has remained the same. The common thread throughout the years has been that we always rise up and come back better, stronger and wiser. Why? Because of the people. When you look at the people, you see the resilience. You are now part of those threads that are going to build resiliency in the cloth of America. This is your day to shine. What you've chosen to do is a call. Guardians of public safety. Don't take those tasks lightly. When you walk into the halls of ATF headquarters, you're going to see a quote on the wall that says, loyalty, protection, perseverance, and partnership in defense of justice. That's who you are. That's what we do. Being an ATF IOI will be the greatest challenge of your professional life. To take the oath of office is the most noble and admirable deed that you can do in the public service. It's a declaration of all things courageous, all things righteous, all things selfless, all things that are unmistakably the character which you today are representing. I wish you a rewarding and fulfilling and safe career. I ask you to bring your mind, your heart, and your soul to work with you every single day of your career. Let it guide you. Make sure that you have a conscience that does not allow you to do anything that would violate anyone's rights, because at the end of the day, I go back to what I said earlier, you are us. We are now you. You represent a noble cast of characters who have done their best to ensure that we bring fairness to public safety and industry regulations. That responsibility is now a part of yours. So I look forward to you guys getting out to the field, to being able to get to your new assignments. I told you you won't be new for very long, so, so enjoy it while you can. There's an entire new cadre that we look forward to bringing in on your heels. You're going to be blazing new trails. You're going to be doing things that are totally different from some of the things that we in this room have even done. Some of the changes that we're making today, and I look at my DIO counterparts out here in the audience, there are things that we're doing today that are making the hair stand up on the back of our necks because it's new, it's different. You know, and putting it back, I don't see any of our attorneys here in the office, but our in the auditorium, if they were here, I guarantee you, they'd be sitting here head shaking as well. But you know what? It's all because we're trying to advance public safety. And when changes come, we adjust to those changes and we do what we need to do. And that's exactly what's happening today. That's what's going to happen over the course of your careers. You will always change with the times to do what is right. So I look forward to you all getting back to your post of duty safely and getting out there and becoming a part of what is the great legacy that is ATF. So thank you and good luck on your journey.
Morning, good afternoon. Joe Price, Chief of the Academy. Richard, thank you again, sir, for those lovely words. At this time, let's begin the presentation of the IOIBT Class 2202 Special Reports. Class supervisors, take the time of their regular duties to come on this building. They do the important job of working with the class. They are mentors, they guide and inspire the trainees to succeed. Class supervisors do everything possible to help trainees complete this rigorous program. They work hard, and we want to present them with a token of our appreciation. Thank you very much. And then field division. Class students. The Larry N. Shoemaker Memorial Award for Leadership honors a new investigator. Integrity, dedication, and excellence staff with the hallmarks of Mr. Shoemaker's career. Mr. Shoemaker will serve with distinction in the San Antonio office. He's passionate about his job and always eager to share his skills. He volunteers as an instructor in the academy, where he inspires the training with knowledge and leadership. The board has a special significance. Class members select the winner. The Larry N. Shoemaker Memorial Award is presented to Matthew McKean, Edward Hood. Now the class honor graduate. The investigators who earned 97% or higher overall academic score in written examinations successfully complete all practical exercises without mediation are designated as distinguished graduates. As I call your name, please stand up and be recognized as a distinguished graduate. The IOIBT Class 2202 distinguished graduates are Joshua Sykes, San Francisco Field Division. Tyler Baker, Denver Field Division. Aaron Locklear, Charlotte Field Division. The distinguished graduate, she's the highest overall. Last time. Or 98.1% last time. Joshua Sykes, San Francisco.
a talented guy. I got a treat this morning.
The Ken M. Cousins Memorial Award for Excellence, honored the new investigator. Professionalism, kindness, spirit, cooperation, and staff. IOI because of the higher person's dedication. Career, industry operations for the New Orleans Field Division. He worked tirelessly in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina to help lead the search of Baton Rouge Michigan ATF employees and their families. Shelter, food, water, and clothing for affected. During the recovery, he also put in long hours day after day, commute, while at the same time dealing with his own home damage and fighting a personal battle with terminal illness. Sadly, Ken passed away in 2006. We honor his memory and his deep devotion to the ATF family with this award. The Ken and Cousins Memorial Award is presented to Tyler Baker, Denver Field Division. Time. 2202 will present credentials and certificates. Call your name. Stand up. Get your credentials. Tyler Baker. Albert DeSanto. Bo Duarte. Jason Lever. Terrell Haney. Frank Jury. Matthew Lacey. Aaron Rockton. Alan Lyon. Matthew Key. William Bowen. Rosemary Montgomery. At this time, we'd also like to recognize Jonathan. In addition to his family, he is a father, wish you well, father, and Next one, John Murphy. Alexander Holt. Joshua Sykes. Jeremy Cope.
Mr. Bryce, finish updating that. All right. Well, as we near the close of programs, I ask the graduates for reaffirmation of bureau. Please stand, raise your right hand. Mr. Richards.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you to raise your hand and state your name, and when we do it individually, you have to start from left to right. Start from left to right. So raise your right hand. I state your name.
Tyler Baker, Albert DeSanto, Emmanuel Porta,
Jason Gaver.
Terrell Hayden.
Frank Jerry.
Wyatt Blakely.
Aaron Lockley.
Alan Ryan. Matt McGee.
Will Bowen.
Rosemary Montgomery.
John Murphy.
Alex Palovich.
Joshua Sykes.
Jeremy Topi.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I'm about to enter,
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Well, IOIBT class 2202 is now my time to bid you farewell. But before I do, I wish you safe travels and Godspeed on the return. Ladies and gentlemen, this closes our graduation ceremony. And again, congratulations to you, IOIBT class 2202.
Right.